Hey guys, let's get more news about Steelers, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. First call, reported power struggle between Kyle Dubas, Mike Sullivan, theory on why Troy Fautanu fell to Steelers. Thursday's First Call finds a reported sticking point between Kyle Dubas and Mike Sullivan regarding the Pittsburgh Penguins coaching staff. Troy Fautanu's agent has a theory on his client's alleged knee red flags. The Steelers have their options when it comes to Najee Harris's fifth-year option. Presley Harvin III has a chance to latch on somewhere else. And former Pitt wide receiver Tyler Boyd is checking out some destinations in the AFC. But Pittsburgh isn't one of them. From the day he was hired, Penguins general manager Kyle Dubas threw his weight behind head coach Mike Sullivan, claiming he has no expiration date. Dubas has offered nothing but full support to the head coach, despite mounting criticism of the two-time Stanley Cup winner. But now we are hearing rumblings of the first rub between the two. On the Daily Face-Off Live on Tuesday, Frank Siravalli said that he is hearing there may be some static about what to do with some of Sullivan's assistant coaches. My understanding is there's a bit of a power struggle ongoing between Kyle Dubas and Mike Sullivan, Siravalli said. Kyle Dubas would like to make changes to the coaching staff and the assistants, and Mike Sullivan has been resistant to that. This shouldn't be a surprise. Sullivan is known for his loyalty to people he trusts. He is also known for his unwithering stubbornness. Power play coach Todd Reirden's unit was only successful 15.27% of the time. That ranked 30th in the NHL. That's despite having the likes of Sidney Crosby, Yevgeny Malkin, Erik Karlsson, Chris Letang and, for much of the year, Jake Guentzel on the unit. Some of Mike Vellucci's forwards, such as Malkin, Rickard Rakell and Riley Smith, had frustrating seasons, to say nothing of inconsistent play from the bottom six all year. So, Dubas has every right to want change. Then again, how much can either coach do with a handful of superstar veterans that are just going to do things their way regardless of coaching and some of the chicken-scratch talent in the bottom six? If Sullivan is pushing back, maybe that's where some of the rumors about potential mutual interest between him and the New Jersey Devils are coming from. The free agent market appears to be heating up for Tyler Boyd. Teams that didn't land a capable slot receiver in the first wave of free agency, or over last week's 7-round NFL draft, may now be willing to meet Boyd's contract demands. The former Pitt Panther was asking for $9 million per year at one point this offseason. That's according to Adam Kaplan of the Pro Football Network. Now Jeremy Fowler of ESPN.com says Boyd is taking a couple of visits to NFL teams, specifically the Los Angeles Chargers and the Tennessee Titans. There were reports last month that the Clairton High School product got an offer from the Steelers, but it wasn't enough to make him interested in a return to Western PA. Boyd has spent his entire 8-year career in Cincinnati. He has totaled exactly 6,000 receiving yards on 513 catches with 31 touchdowns. Now that the Steelers have drafted Roman Wilson out of Michigan, like Boyd, he profiles as a slot receiver as well. If the Steelers are to sign a free agent receiver, it'd likely be more of an outside-the-numbers, down-the-field threat. A commonly held theory as to why Troy Fautanu surprisingly slipped to the Steelers at pick number 20 of the first round of the NFL draft is that there was a late report of knee injury concerns. Fautanu and the Steelers have insisted there is nothing to it. When KJR radio host Dick Fain came on 105.9 The X with me on Friday, he and I joked that maybe the Steelers or someone else planted the rumor so that Fautanu would fall. Now, appearing on Fain's show in Seattle with Dave Softy Mahler, Fautanu says his agent believes something like that is exactly what happened. If not with the Steelers, specifically, then some other team deep in the first round. I talked to my agent, and he was saying that a team later in the draft might have leaked it to try and get me to fall, Fautanu said. The last time I dealt with my knee was in 2021. But I've never missed any games, never missed any practices due to it. So, the report was kind of random. In the end, though, Fautanu doesn't seem bitter because he likes the fit with the Steelers. "If that hadn't come out, maybe I wouldn't be in Pittsburgh," he said. "So I'm kind of happy everything did play out the way it was supposed to." Sometime Thursday, the Steelers have to announce if they are going to pick up the fifth-year option on running back Najee Harris. Because Harris was a first-round pick, he can be guaranteed a salary for a fifth season heading into season number 4. That's where Harris is now. That option would be a $6.79 million ticket for 2025. On Tuesday, ProFootballTalk.com's Mike Florio seemed a bit dubious of the Steelers' willingness to pick it up. "With Harris, it's a tougher call," Florio said on 93.7 The Fan. "Part of the psychology is, how do we get the most out of the player? But once you extend it, it's fully guaranteed. He's getting that money no matter what. They might be tempted to not do it, just to see what they get out of him in a contract year." Florio is right in the sense that the prudent move is to never sign any running back to a fifth-year option because of injury risk and positional value. Since the rest of the league has embraced that mentality about running backs, though, their price tags are so deflated that a fifth-year option is a relatively minor expense. For instance, this year Harris will make $4.1 million. That's 1.6% of the salary cap according to OvertHeCap.com. Alex Highsmith is about to count $6.7 million against this year's cap. That's only 2.6% before factoring in whatever increases happen for 2025. That hardly seems exorbitant for a guy who, between rushes, catches, and targets, had 293 plays called for him. He also scored 8 of the team's 29 total offensive touchdowns. "I don't care so much about goosing Harris emotionally in 2024. To me, that's an irrelevant point." Where Florio is right is that there is no reason to put yourself on the hook for the money for 2025 now and risk injury when, since the market is so flat for running backs as it is, it's not going to break your bank if you want to sign him to an extended deal that you can prorate after 2024 anyway. If Harris asks for too much, sign somebody else. But if the Steelers do activate the fifth year just to keep him happy and have certainty for 2025, it's not at all a backbreaker. Could the Steelers make a massive trade to continue to help QB Russell Wilson? There were recent rumors swirling that the Pittsburgh Steelers could be getting ready to make a significant trade to perhaps help their new QB, Russell Wilson. The Steelers are the latest team to take a chance on Russell Wilson, as the veteran QB will now play for his third team in 4 seasons, which clearly is marking the end of his time in the NFL. Russell Wilson's prime was an all-time period of QB play that might not be seen again. He's arguably the best dual-threat passer in NFL history, and his downfall has been quite sad to see. Wilson is an easy person to criticize, as he's not one to clap back, but he has played poorly the last 2.5 seasons. However, the Steelers' QB room in 2023 was the worst in the NFL, so adding both Russell Wilson and Justin Fields gives them huge upgrades. Well, could the Steelers make another move to invest into their new QB? They drafted a pair of future OL starters in Troy Fautanu and Zach Frazier, and they also took a very good WR prospect in Roman Wilson. Their 2024 NFL draft class does kind of prove that they are sold on Wilson, but are they done there? Could Steelers GM Omar Khan still be working to make life as easy as possible for Russell Wilson? He and Courtland Sutton, the disgruntled Broncos WR, had insane chemistry in 2023. Sutton caught 10 touchdown passes and was making circus catches nearly every week. Could Michael Thomas make sense for Steelers? With new Pittsburgh Steelers offensive coordinator Arthur Smith coming on board to try and help the team's quarterback situation, they hope to see much better offensive play across the board, and that means that another weapon could help the entire offense out significantly. Pro Football Focus Brad Spielberger sees former Saints All-Pro wide receiver Michael Thomas as the ideal wide receiver for Smith's offense, and believes that Thomas could greatly help the team. Pittsburgh brought Allen Robinson aboard to serve as the big slot possession receiver in 2023, and while his lack of production was not entirely his own doing, perhaps the Steelers take another swing with Thomas, Spielberger wrote. And you, fan? What do you think of the situation of Michael Thomas? Leave your opinion in the comments.